I'm Kimberly.
I'm Michael.
And welcome to Real Takes.
And Movie Breaks.
And today we are reviewing the film Legend from 1985. Today we are reviewing Legend! Right at the Plaza Theatre.
Plaza Theatre. We're here. We're going to go see it.
This is my first time seeing this movie. I know nothing about it.
This is my 20th time. So we're going to talk about it. See you soon.
This is a new channel, so please subscribe to our channel. Click that notification bell so you never miss a review. This is part of our retro review segment where
retro view,
yeah, where we review older films that not a lot of people talk about. So this was my first time seeing this movie, and
what'd you think?
I laughed a lot at the cheesiness, the corniness, some of the predictability. I laughed a lot at the soundtrack, the acting. Tom Cruise in this made me laugh so much because I think this came out right after Top Gun or right before Top Gun. It was before. It was when he was just a budding actor.
It's before Top Gun.
And I feel like he hadn't really grown into his full talent yet. And everything he does in this film is just very melodramatic, I would say. So
I don't even know if it's melodramatic. I feel like it's just him being confused.
He has this sort of the same expression the whole time. But so his sort of like predictable expressions, he looks confused a lot, and
I don't even know what he is. He's some sort of woodland forest boy.
Yeah, so the plot itself was really funny. The movie logic didn't make any sense, and that part was funny. He's supposedly someone who lives in the forest, and then our female lead is a princess, yet she visits him in the forest and prefers being in the forest.
Princess Lily.
Yeah.
All right, so I should also explain that we watched the version that is the Tangerine Dream score, which is the U.S. theatrical version, is the one they showed at the theater. There's another version from Europe that Jerry Goldsmith scored, and I think has additional content that makes the plot make a little bit more sense. Mm-hmm. Because the way this one was edited, the way this one was cut, I think it was done by the studio differently than how it was originally conceived. So it doesn't fully make sense. Like she asks him at one point about the unicorns, do you speak their language? Mm-hmm. But we have no frame of reference for what she's talking about. Speak their language. Mm-hmm. But they're in the other version, when she's first talking to him, he's teaching her how to speak rabbit.
Okay.
And she's
so it's clear that he can talk to animals, and he's sort of like Mowgli from the Jungle Book, teaching her.
It's a bunch of different stories, old stories, sort of like Frankenstein together. Like you have like Peter Pan.
Yeah, there were some Peter Pan elements for sure.
And you have
I feel like if Disney and the Grimm brothers had a baby, because this was very like dark fantasy.
The Black Cauldron is very similar to this. Remember there was
Labyrinth.
I think in that, but like classic stories like Midsummer Night's Dream. I feel like is the Gump character is Puck, and then the Lord of Darkness. I guess you could say Tim Curry's character is kind of it's just devil. He's just Satan.
Yeah, which we've all seen this character before.
There's goblins, which obviously comes from. I think there's some like Lord of the Rings elements in there.
This was way before Lord of the Rings movies.
Well, the books.
The books, yeah.
Also Narnia.
Yes, felt similar to Narnia. Felt similar to a lot of films I had seen before. And speaking of Tim Curry and alternate versions, I heard there's an alternate version where I think it's the European version.
That's what I was talking about.
Where you don't actually see the Lord of Darkness until much later in the film. You only see his fingernails. You only hear him. You only see parts of him. You don't actually see his face until much later on. And I wonder if that would have been more effective, because you see his face like immediately in this version. But I have to say, the practical effects, I have to give them props because they didn't do CGI back then. So I have to give them credit for all those practical effects. I mean, for its time, it did look visually beautiful for its time. So I did like that aspect of it. It was almost like it felt like almost watching a play, like a live production, because you could tell that it was kind of a set in certain parts, glitter everywhere. But I did appreciate the art direction for sure. The story itself was just so funny, how it made me laugh, how little sense it made. And you have these two characters, they're not really fully developed. They're just frolicking in the woods, and then they kiss, and then we're supposed to like care about them after that. And then of course he shows her the unicorns, which is such a forbidden thing to do. He shows her these unicorns.
She touches one.
And she lures the unicorn over.
But because she touches it, the goblins shoot it with a tranquilizer and then are able to chase it down and chop off its horn. And because they chop off its horn, the whole world turns to snow. But Jack and Lily are not affected by the snow, where they don't get frozen.
Yeah, nobody would run around wearing a dress.
But it's not snow. It's just little...
I heard it was chicken feathers or something.
Chicken feather. It doesn't look like snow.
It doesn't really look like snow.
It looks like... And the whole movie, there's stuff flying around in the air. Like there's all these little like...
I think it's chicken feathers.
Like
dust, fairy dust.
There's fairy dust everywhere. And, the set is littered with stuff. And there's some fun themes in here that they're playing with.
I do like the themes of, we've heard these stories before. Without the light, there could be no darkness.
I love that intro with the text.
The intro with the text.
It keeps going and going. Going, and we were all laughing. The theater was packed, and everyone was laughing.
The intro is just funny because it spells everything out. It's basically like treating the audience like morons, which I thought was funny.
I love the thing. There's the line in the scrolling text that says Jack loves Lily with all his heart. it was just really strange intro. I love how the unicorns were clearly just horses with fake horns.
I really liked, I think my favorite part of the movie was Tim Curry as the Lord of Darkness. He has such great comedic talent. He was able to make me laugh playing this crazy over the top character. But the thing that made me laugh was he was actually playing it real. Like when he tries to seduce the girl, he asks her, can we just sit and talk? He seemed very much like a human being there, like a guy just trying to like impress this girl. So the way he played that part I thought was really funny. The one line he said that really stuck out to me was the dreams of the youth are regrets of maturity, or something like that. I was like, okay, that's kind of a profound, that's like the one line I remember in the whole movie that I thought had some like depth and something profound.
But we all laughed at it because of the way he delivered it.
The dreams of the youth, yeah.
and then she says, I'm going to kill the unicorn. And he's like,
and his evil, maniacal laugh.
My favorite part of the movie is when Tom Cruise stumbles upon the dead unicorn.
Yeah.
And we get 3 minutes of him walking over to this unicorn that's dead. And then the other one runs over. It's just a horse with a horn. So it's just Tom Cruise and a horse
walking up,
and this music is blasting. Mm-hmm. It is the cheesiest,
it's the longest shot ever.
Crescendo, and then he's crying.
But you can tell the editing is hilarious because you see him walk up and he's just staring at the unicorn, and then there's a cut, and now all of a sudden he has tears in his eyes now, and it's telling the audience that he's crying, and he apologizes. He apologizes to the unicorn.
He says, "Forgive me.
Just because he showed the girl, he was like, hey, look at these unicorns in the forest. But he feels so bad about that because he feels like if that hadn't happened, she wouldn't have tried to lure the unicorn over, and the unicorn wouldn't have gotten shot by the goblins.
But we see the horse kind of seems sort of angry with him, but then the horse sort of backs off a little bit, like it's not angry with him anymore, and then he turns around and walks back, and we see him sort of like feel better. This whole scene is like 4 minutes long of him apologizing to a horse.
That was probably my second favorite part of the film, was that he was pantsless and so many crotch. He was constantly squatting.
He was always squatting.
And even when he discovered this armor with a sword, and he puts this armor on, and it's literally like a sequin dress, and it's cut up above his hips, so you literally see his bare legs the whole movie.
It was probably made of plastic.
Yeah.
But
the costumes.
They used little sound effects to make it seem like it was metal. And then there's the scene where the fairy wants him to kiss the fairy, and
she goes, "I'll rescue us. I'll help us out if you kiss me, Jack."
And he's like,
and then you see him almost turn, and he's like, "Wait, no, Lily, I'm not gonna kiss you because I love Lily."
Right, because the actress Mia Sara, she turns into her for a second.
Well, the fairy turns into his love or whatever, and he like starts to lean in. And then he's like, "Oh no,
that's not how the human heart works."
It doesn't
quite make any sense at all. And then at the end, the big fight. So I was thinking to myself, back in the 80s, it was such a great time, because in all of these movies, it always ends up with the hero and the girl, and the hero has to save the girl, and then he's got to fight this crazy bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's what this culminates with.
Mm-hmm.
And we kill the Lord of Darkness. And then he's still like, "I'll always be here," or whatever. And then they use the sun, the reflection of the sun, to blast him into outer space.
Yeah. So he's just floating around in space.
So he explodes in space.
And he's like, "A part of me is in all of you. There's darkness in us all. You need me."
The plot is, and the editing and everything is so bizarre, and it's almost like a big long music video.
And they recycled shots.
Recycled shots at the end.
So I heard the set blew, like it caught on fire.
I'm sure it did.
So I wonder if that's why they had to recycle some of those earlier shots at the end.
I'm sure, because that set was I mean, I wish the sets like that still existed. That was just a wild set. But yeah, at the end, there's this crazy he gets a ring and puts it on her, and she wakes up as Sleeping Beauty. There's a Sleeping Beauty.
Suddenly she's laying in the forest again
with the same clothes, and then we hear that song, "Loved by the Sun,"
and they're
everyone's
just waving at each other.
Everyone in the theater is also waving
and
at
you're
them.
Like, where are they going? And they're just walking off into the sun.
They run, literally, they run into the sun. So they're leaving now. I guess they're leaving.
And then the shot where like you see like the horn being put back on the unicorn to restore the balance, because I guess in this reality that if the unicorns die, all daylight dies, and the whole point of the Lord of Darkness was to make it nighttime or wintertime all year round,
dark forever.
With darkness forever.
He doesn't want there to be
and the only way to do that is if you kill the last remaining unicorns. So at the end, there's just like this big shot where you see just a hand with a horn.
Yeah, somehow it just reattaches.
It just reattaches, and then what we think is the dead unicorn comes back to life. And then you see the same shot of the two unicorns at the beginning.
And then when the credits roll, we get Brian Ferry's "Is Your Love Strong Enough?" So it's just a totally, I mean, we'll never see anything like it again.
I also thought it was pretty obvious that the whole thing was ADR.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess because the set was so loud, they had to ADR everything.
Yeah, and a lot of times Tom Cruise would say his lines, but he would say them off camera.
So you couldn't. It was so obvious that it was ADR.
We wouldn't see him say lines. We would.
You would just see him go like this.
You'd see his face. It would cut to something else. Then we hear him talk.
His face is literally the whole time.
Yeah.
I feel like if Johnny Depp played the role, it would have been a better film.
Because Johnny Depp would have been just weird enough.
Yeah.
Like,
because Tom Cruise is too ordinary. He just seems like totally unfitting for this magical world. He seems like a, like a guy from one of those teen magazines.
Yeah, he's too clean cut.
Yeah.
Or out of 5.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 5, purely entertainment, I would give it like a 4 out of 5, just because it was so bad it was funny.
4 out of 5.
Because it was so bad it was funny. Now, as far as an overall, like, how great of a movie it is, I give it like a 1
a 1?
Yeah.
I'll give it a 3.5 if you average everything together, because it is to see that in a theater with a lot of people. We were laughing the whole time.
It was definitely entertaining, and I can see why it has a cult following, sort of like Rocky Horror Picture Show and The Room and films like that. I definitely see why it has a cult following, because it is fun to watch.
Yes. And
Tim Curry, I think, really sells it. Like, without him, I don't think I could have watched it and enjoyed it nearly as much. So, so if you haven't seen it, I do recommend watching it. Let us know your thoughts if you have seen the film. Let us know what you think about this classic. And if there are any other movies you'd like us to watch and review, please comment below. And in the meantime, stay real.
And have good takes.